If you are running the Themify Shopo theme on your WordPress site, you need to drop everything and check your version right now. We are looking at a nearly perfect 10 out of 10 severity score for a flaw that lets attackers take over your entire web server.
I'm Morgan, and that's Alex. This is your daily briefing. Let's break it down.
So this Themify Shopo issue is CVE 2025-31048. It is an unrestricted file upload vulnerability. Essentially, the theme doesn't properly check what kind of files a user is sending to the server. An attacker can upload a web shell, which is basically a backdoor that gives them full command line access to the site's hosting environment.
Themify is huge in the WordPress ecosystem, and a 9.9 score, that is about as bad as it gets. It reminds me of those plugin vulnerabilities we saw last year, where botnets were just scanning the entire internet for specific file paths. If you're on any version up to 1.1.4, you're vulnerable.
Exactly. And speaking of high-value targets, we have a pair of critical flaws in Centreon Infra Monitoring. This is a tool used by IT teams to watch their entire infrastructure, which makes it a prime target for supply chain-style attacks.
Right, because if you get into the monitoring system, you've got a map of the entire kingdom. What are we looking at here? Is it an authentication issue?
It's a double whammy. First, CVE 2025-15026 is a missing authentication flaw in the AWI import module. It basically lets an unauthenticated user access functions they should never see. Then there's CVE 2025-15029, which is a classic SQL injection in the export module. Both are sitting at a 9.8 out of 10.
Wait, so an attacker doesn't even need a password to start poking around or running database commands? That's a massive oversight for a security-adjacent tool. It's giving me SolarWinds or Kaseya vibes, where the very software you trust to manage your network becomes the open door. If you're using Centreon versions 2404, 2410, or 2510, you need to get to the latest minor release immediately.
Moving away from patches for a second, we've got some significant breach news. Ledger customers are being targeted again, but this time it isn't Ledger's own database that was hit.
Ledger just can't catch a break. I remember that massive marketing database leak they had a few years ago that led to all those physical phishing threats. Who was it this time?
It's a third-party payment processor called Global E. They handle transactions for Ledger, and hackers managed to breach their systems. Ledger is now notifying customers that their personal data, names, addresses, phone numbers, might be out there.
This is the classic third-party risk problem. You can have the most secure hardware wallet in the world, but if the company you bought it from uses a vendor with a hole in their fence, your data is still gone. For Ledger users, this means the phishing is going to get very specific and very aggressive again.
Definitely. Now, shifting to mobile threats, a botnet called KimWolf has quietly infected over 2 million Android devices. 2 million.
2 million? That's a massive footprint. How are they getting onto the phones? Is it malicious apps in the Play Store?
Actually, it's more technical. According to Cynthiant, KimWolf is leveraging exposed Android debug bridge, or ADB, ports, and tunneling through residential proxy networks. They're monetizing this by selling the infected phone's bandwidth as a proxy service and even running distributed denial of service attacks.
So your phone is basically being rented out to other criminals without you knowing it. You know, this reminds me of how some free VPN apps operate. They turn your device into an exit node for someone else's traffic. If you're a developer or a power user who leaves ADB enabled over the network, you're basically leaving your front door wide open.
Speaking of developers, there's a really clever supply chain attack targeting people using AI-powered code editors. If you use Cursor, Windsurf, or Google Anti-Gravity, you need to be careful about which extensions you're installing.
Wait, I use Cursor. What's the catch? Are these malicious extensions in the official marketplace?
It's a bit more subtle. These IDEs are forks of VS Code, but they sometimes recommend extensions that don't actually exist in the OpenVSX registry yet. Threat actors are spotting these recommended but non-existent names, claiming the namespace, and then uploading their own malicious versions.
That is brilliant. and terrifying. It's like typo squatting, but the IDE is actually doing the typo squatting for you by suggesting a name that hasn't been taken. We're seeing this explosion of AI tools like Tray and Windsurf, and the security infrastructure around their extension registries just hasn't caught up to the hype.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even your development environment is a target. Finally, we're seeing high-intensity intelligence gathering in Ukraine. A Russia-aligned group known as UAC-0184 is using the Viber messaging platform to target military and government officials.
Viber is huge in Eastern Europe. What's the hook? Are they sending malicious links?
They're sending malicious zip archives directly through the chat. Once opened, it's all about intelligence gathering. The 360 Threat Intelligence Center says this group has been extremely active throughout early 2025.
It just goes to show that even with all the focus on high-end 0 days, a simple message with a bad file is still one of the most effective ways to breach a government entity. Meanwhile, Telegram is facing its own heat. Wired is reporting it's now home to the world's largest darknet markets, specifically for Chinese-speaking crypto scammers, according to the firm Elliptic.
The scale is getting hard to ignore. Between the darknet markets and the EU looking into taking action against X over Grok creating deepfake images, the platforms themselves are increasingly under the microscope for what they allow.
It's a lot to keep track of. If you're an admin, prioritize that Themify Shopo patch for CVE 2025-31048 and check your Centreon instances. Your daily AI-powered security briefing. If this saved you time, subscribe. We're here every morning.
Stay patched, stay paranoid.